Hi, this is vocabulary for Season 1, Episode 1 of the HBO series Not So Pretty. The topic of this episode is makeup. Makeup. And here we go. Here's the vocabulary. This time what I'm doing, I'm trying to show you the vocabulary in context. So we have the word or the term in the actual sentence. Corinne, I grew up in Destrehan, Louisiana. I love to play and roughhouse, hang out with the boys, but I also always had a really girly, creative side. Makeup kit from Claire's. So play and roughhouse is to play around, and roughhouse is to be, the old gender stereotype was to play rough like a boy. Gentle fighting, maybe. Roughhousing is running around. It's slightly dangerous. Parents often say, don't roughhouse, or they say, don't roughhouse in the house, go outside and do that. You might throw things, balls, or roughhousing. Not gentle play. And typically more associated with boys. And again, in the old gender stereotype, a girl who would do that is what we used to call a tomboy, where her behavior is more like the expectation of a boy. And that's Corinne. But she had two sides to her that she's saying. She had two sides. On the one hand, she would roughhouse with the boys, but she also had a girly, creative side where she liked to play with makeup. Okay, next. Palmer. So how did asbestos get into a child's makeup? Well, the key to understanding how that happened is to look at another personal care product, one that has been marketed for decades as the essence of mother-child love. I believe that is actually love and not life, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's love, yeah. The key to understanding how means if you want to understand something, you need to look at this part. It's like the key that opens the door. If you're missing this part, you cannot understand, because this is the key. This is the necessary component. If you want to understand how asbestos got in a child's makeup, you need to first understand about baby powder and how that baby powder was sold and marketed to mothers in a way that they connected with loving their child. That's the basic meaning. Number 3. We got those results in December and I thought, oh my gosh, Christmas is around the corner. Fitzgerald. She's like, we got to tell everybody before little girls end up with asbestos in their Christmas stockings. Christmas is around the corner. When something is around the corner, here in this idiomatic expression, it means it's coming soon. So maybe this was the beginning of December, or maybe this was in late November. But when Christmas is just around the corner, it's about to happen. If you don't know about stockings, this is a American Christian tradition for Christmas. You have two sets of gifts for children. The children get toys for Christmas under the Christmas tree that are wrapped in wrapping paper. And then there are also stockings. Traditionally in an American home, an older American home, you might have a fireplace with a mantle, which is the piece of wood above the fireplace, where sometimes you might put flowers or some display items. And you would hang your stockings in that place. The idea was that when Santa Claus came down the chimney of the fireplace, he would put toys inside the stockings also. And so like the small gifts that a girl might get for Christmas from the store Claire's, if they got that, they might get asbestos. And so they wanted to tell the company early so that this wouldn't happen for Christmas. Next, I believe this is number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, now we're 4. Human guinea pigs. Johnson & Johnson actually funded an experiment to test the toxicity of asbestos in humans. Patty Satalia. Hundreds of Philadelphia prisoners were used as human guinea pigs in an array of unethical and oftentimes dangerous medical experiments. The experiments left many test subjects, most of whom were African Americans, in excruciating pain. Often today we do medical testing on mice, on a mouse. And if the medicine works on a mouse, later they will give it to a monkey. And if it works on a monkey, then they will try it on a human. Another animal that they frequently used to use for testing was a guinea pig. So when you're a human guinea pig, it means that they're going to do medical testing directly on humans, maybe kind of skipping the animal part. Okay, moving on. Next, pulling those items off the shelf, and also an abundance of caution. Claire says there's no evidence its products are unsafe, but did say it was pulling those items off the shelf in an abundance of caution. An abundance of caution means to be extra careful, just to be sure. It's not necessary, but we just want to be sure. Pulling those items off the shelf means not selling them anymore. It means the store is going to take it from the display, which is usually on a shelf, and they're not going to make it for sale anymore. They're going to take it away. Next, polymer. Asbestos and other dangerous toxins can be found in makeup products because the beauty industry lacks proper oversight. Oversight is control and regulation from the government. Lack is to not have. So to lack proper oversight means that, especially proper is what you're supposed to have. So it means you're not having the government check and control things the way it should be. So the asbestos and other bad things, the dangerous toxins, can be found in makeup, including children's makeup, because the beauty industry can do whatever they want. They're not being sufficiently adequately, properly, correctly regulated, which is another way of saying oversight. Women in this demographic. There are documents showing that they targeted African American women that were overweight that lived in the South. Shoo. According to lawsuits, Johnson & Johnson was aware that women in this demographic wouldn't know that they were sick until far, far too late. And when they did realize that they were sick, they wouldn't have access to the kind of health care that white women would. And these lawsuits claimed that the company willfully took the step to market to them anyway. Demographic is information about people. So what kind of people? We've got African American, we've got overweight, and we've got that lived in the South of the United States. So you have 3 factors here. You've got their ethnicity, which is African American. You have their health status, which is overweight. And you have the location that they live in, which is in the South. All of that information together is called demographic information. You could also include their age, for example, and that would be other kinds of demographic information. Demo comes from Greek, and it means people. Graphic is writing or numbers, and you put it together, and demographic means information about people. Next, the Texas two-step or the Texas two-step scheme. Palmer. Oh gosh, I realize now the word here, Palmer, should be the same up here. Polymer is actually a word from chemistry. And that was a mistake in using Siri earlier. So it should be Palmer. I thought that was weird. Okay, Texas two-step. Palmer. This Texas two-step scheme could allow Johnson & Johnson to avoid paying billions in damages owed to people whom the courts determined to have been harmed and killed by the company's talc products. By the company's possessive here. So the Texas two-step actually is a kind of dance. It's a square dance. It's a kind of Western style of dancing that's developed and is popular in Texas. A scheme is some kind of plan, kind of conspiracy, a secret plan. Put it together, a Texas two-step scheme is a secret plan from Texas. So what Johnson & Johnson did, this is out of context, there's even more information, they were being sued and they actually lost. And to prevent paying the money, they made a new company, which they based in Texas, which had no assets. It really had no money. And they made the responsibility for the talc that was in their products. They gave the responsibility for that to this new company, this subsidiary. A subsidiary is like a baby company of a mother company. When you say sub, S-U-B, it means down. So a subsidiary is a company that belongs to another company. And they did this to avoid having to pay any money. Kind of shocking that it actually worked. Next, from a company standpoint. A standpoint is a point of view, so woman. Just from a company standpoint, it's all about your revenue. Meaning from the point of view of a company, if you're looking at the problem from the vantage point, from the point of view, or from the standpoint where you're standing, right, of a company, then what you're thinking about is money. Money. It's all about revenue. Here are the do's and don'ts for cosmetic products. This is coming at the end of the video, and they're giving you some suggestions of things that you should do, those are the do's, and things you should not do, which are the don'ts. So when you have do's and don'ts, these are things you should do on the one hand, and things you should not do on the other hand. Rate and rank. If you're not sure where to start, download apps like Skin Deep, Detox Me, and Clear Ya, which rate and rank product safety, and list dangerous ingredients. One more time. If you're not sure where to start, download apps like Skin Deep, Detox Me, and Clear Ya, which rate and rank product safety and list dangerous ingredients. This was a suggestion almost at the end of the video, where if you want to find products that don't use talc, you can use these apps. Download Skin Deep on your iPhone or Detox Me, and then you can find products that do not have talc. And what they do is rate and rank products. What does that mean to rate and rank? Rank is like in the military, where the lowest level is a private, and then you have a corporal as you're moving up, and you have a sergeant, and you continue all the way up to the top, and you have the general, and then above that you have the president. That's rank. Rate is to give a number, like stars, right? If it's really good, it's 5 stars. If it's really bad, it's 1 star, or even worse, 0 stars. So what these apps will do is essentially, you put in a product from Estee Lauder or whatever, and they'll tell you how bad it is for the chemicals and toxic things that are inside, including talc. The last one here is to go in vain. Go in vain. I want my experience to have meaning and not go in vain. When something it goes in vain, it means it was for nothing. You tried so hard, you did so much, and finally got nothing. So it was in vain. It was in vain, or to go in vain. So this woman suffered. She almost died, the one who was talking. And she said, I want other people to learn from this. I want the bad things that happened to me to benefit other people. I want my experience to have meaning and not go in vain. Okay, this wraps up the vocabulary for episode 1 of season 1 of Not So Pretty from HBO, and the topic of this episode is makeup.